The moment Aaron Cole slid into the cracked red booth of that roadside diner, the weight of the day pressed down on him like a storm cloud that refused to move. Outside, daylight filtered through rain-streaked windows, turning the parking lot into a blur of gray and motion, but inside his chest everything felt painfully still. He had come here for silence, for a warm plate and 5 minutes where no one needed anything from him. He thought he would eat alone, just another tired single father lost in the middle of an ordinary afternoon, unaware that this small, unremarkable place was about to rearrange his heart in ways he never saw coming. Before the story goes any further, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and quiet moments that change lives, please take a second to like this video, comment, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to our channel, Grandma Dearie. Your support keeps stories like this alive and reaching hearts that need them. Aaron had not always been this tired. There was a time when daytime felt like opportunity instead of obligation, when sunlight meant plans and laughter instead of errands and exhaustion. But life had folded in on itself after his wife passed away 2 years earlier, leaving him alone with a 6-year-old daughter and a calendar full of responsibilities. That afternoon, his daughter was at school, safe and laughing somewhere without him, and he had slipped into the diner between work shifts, still wearing his jacket, his shoulders tight with the habit of bracing himself against the world. The plate in front of him held pancakes he barely tasted, his mind drifting through unpaid bills, unfinished laundry, and the quiet ache of missing someone who would never walk through the door again. The diner was bright in that honest, midday way, the kind of light that showed everything clearly and offered nowhere to hide. Vinyl seats, checkered floor, the hum of a refrigerator, the soft clatter of dishes. It smelled like coffee and toasted bread, like mornings that once meant something more. Aaron stared at his plate, fork resting untouched, when movement near the entrance caught his eye. A woman stood just inside the door, her coat worn thin, her hair pulled back in a messy knot that spoke of rushed mornings and long nights. In her arms, she held a small boy bundled in a pale sweater, his head heavy against her shoulder. She hesitated, scanning the room as if deciding whether she belonged there. Daytime diners were full of people with places to be, people who fit neatly into schedules and expectations. She did not. Her eyes were tired, not dramatic or desperate, just worn down by too many days that asked for more than she had to give. Aaron felt an unexpected tightening in his chest as he watched her shift the child's weight, instinctively protective, instinctively apologetic for existing in a space that did not seem made for her. The boy stirred, his small face creasing with discomfort, and Aaron noticed how thin his sleeves were, how his shoes barely touched his mother's knees. Something about that quiet moment cracked open a memory Aaron kept buried. He remembered holding his own daughter when she was that small, remembered the fear of not knowing how to give her everything she needed, remembered the loneliness of being seen and unseen at the same time. The diner, once just a place to eat, suddenly felt like a crossroads. The woman moved closer, stopping near the empty table across from Aaron. She looked at him, not boldly, not with expectation, but with the cautious hope of someone who had learned to ask carefully. Her child shifted again, restless, and Aaron saw the way her arms tightened around him, as if she could protect him from hunger itself. Without fully understanding why, Aaron's fork paused midair. The quiet he had come for no longer mattered. What mattered was the shared understanding that passed between two strangers who knew what it meant to carry more than they could afford to set down. Aaron gestured toward the empty seat, his movement small but deliberate. The woman's shoulders sagged in relief, gratitude flickering across her face like sunlight breaking through clouds. She sat, still holding her son, her posture guarded yet grateful, as if afraid the moment might disappear if she moved too fast. The diner noise continued around them, ordinary and indifferent, but something fragile and important had begun to grow in that booth. Time slowed. Aaron pushed his plate slightly aside, suddenly aware that food tasted different when someone else needed it more. The boy's eyes opened fully now, curious and calm, watching the world with the quiet seriousness children carry when they sense the weight adults try to hide. The woman rocked him gently, her exhaustion softened by the simple fact of being allowed to stay. Outside, the rain eased, daylight brightening, as if the world itself had decided to pause and pay attention. Aaron found himself noticing details he usually missed. The way the woman's hands trembled slightly from fatigue, the faint crease of worry between her brows, the soft rise and fall of her son's breathing. He thought about how many people walked past each other every day, each carrying invisible burdens, each convinced they were alone. He thought about how easy it was to look away, and how much harder it was to stay. As plates were cleared and refilled, as the clock on the wall ticked forward, something inside Aaron shifted. The ache he carried did not vanish, but it loosened, making room for something else. Purpose, maybe. Connection. The realization that kindness did not require grand gestures or perfect timing. Sometimes it was just space. Sometimes it was letting someone sit down and breathe. The woman eventually stood, adjusting her coat, her son now calmer, fuller, safer. Her eyes met Aaron's again, and though no words were exchanged, everything important was said. Gratitude, respect, the shared understanding that this small mercy would echo longer than the afternoon. She left the diner with slower steps than she had entered, her shoulders a little lighter, the daylight outside waiting for her. Aaron remained in the booth.